G'day there guys, I do think the sun exists. It's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love today's content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some bloody good contentious stories. Thank you. Posted by user Personal Confusion. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that the only reason she says money doesn't matter is because we're rich? So I, 48 male, and my wife, 47 female, both have very well-paying jobs. I'm a pediatric doctor, and she's an attorney, which have allowed us and our kids, 20 female, 17 male, and 15 male, to have more than a comfortable lifestyle. My wife has a tendency to say things like, money doesn't matter, and that material things don't matter, and she says them all the time. Which kinda irks me because she's right, but I was raised in a poor family, and I know that she wouldn't be saying the same thing if we were middle class. But I haven't said anything up until this morning. I had made a comment about needing a better watch, and my wife was saying her usual, money doesn't matter. I told her that she was only saying that because we're rich, and because she has never experienced being without money in any sense. Predictably, she got upset with me, and now I'm wondering if perhaps I overreacted and went too far. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I might have overreacted and went too far, making things worse just because of a saying. I just don't see how you overreacted in this situation. This seems like a normal thing that you would say to a life partner, and you know them, you can read them, you should know what their reaction to these things are going to be. If they're a particularly volatile person, and you know that saying things like this to them are going to piss them off and throw them over the edge, then that's a them problem, but that's also a you problem, and you're an a-hole for doing that if you intentionally do that. But in this situation, it sounds like she's not like that. And this doesn't sound like an overreaction at all, it's kind of just a little bit of a disagreement. She may view the world through rose-colored glasses, and that's her prerogative, but it's always good to have more compassion for those that don't have money. And realize that, like Kanye said, having money is not everything, not having it is. It seems like she has and continues to have a privileged lifestyle, and while that's all well and good, the sayings don't ring true. To a lot of people, money very much does matter, and to a lot of people, material things very much do matter to them. It's all well and good that she doesn't perceive them to matter to her, but I can see why it would annoy you, but I don't think that it was an overreaction. So for this one, I'm going to go with not the a-hole. Oh, okay then, 666 says, not the a-hole. People who have always had money seem to be delusional about it. Money absolutely does matter when you're poor. Not the a-hole. Honestly, I don't hate rich people, but they're definitely naive about their privilege a lot. It gets annoying when you grow up not having what you needed or wanted because of poverty. It's also why I could never be super intimate with someone who grew up wealthy. It feels like they'll never understand. For real, had a debate on here a while back because some guy was saying it's simple to get money and that poor people are just lazy. His advice? Invest. Like bro, we literally have no money. We are one paycheck away from being homeless. Loads of well-off people seem to think we're just bad with money or lazy when we're stuck in a system designed to keep us poor. Extortionate rent, tax on everything, loans to get educated, extremely competitive job opportunities. That reminds me of a debate that I had with a guy who said, they're probably poor because they live in an area with high rent, and they should just move. And I tried to explain, moving costs money. Money they don't have. And their response was, just move your own boxes. Oh my god. Tia Calypso says, not the a-hole, but your wife is only an a-hole very gently. It's difficult to understand and accept your privilege when you've grown up with it. I once said something akin to, money doesn't matter, or money doesn't buy happiness to a friend, and got a proper lecture by the friend. It went somewhat like this. You only say money doesn't matter because you have it, It buys you a good university, nice holidays, and good care altogether. These are things that make you happy or happier that you buy with the money that you say doesn't matter. I think it's always been easy to understand the correlation between money and happiness, but people use the money isn't everything excuse as sort of virtue signal to show that they don't need it or they're just as well off without it. Not saying this is how OP's wife is using it, but like he said, people who already have money are the ones who say this the most, and wouldn't understand how wrong that seems until they're broke. No a-holes here. Info. Can you be clearer about what sort of context she's saying this in? Because it could be either really offensive or really not. For example, when you made a comment about needing a better watch, was she suggesting that you shouldn't be reluctant to spend the money on a better watch? That you should have been satisfied with the watch you have? That she'd be happy to buy you one? And OP replies, be satisfied with the watch, yes. So couldn't that be construed as her being less materialistic and you being more? The watch really doesn't work, but you could say that. I can understand why the phrase was provoking to you, but I don't think she meant it the way you took it, and I think you probably know that. No a-holes here. I think he was ready to be angry and is taking it a whole different way. This story is confusing because the wife is the one talking about being frugal. Weird. Yeah, it's a bit of a puzzle. OP might be technically the a-hole, but I'm giving him a pass, due mainly to my own confusion. His wife is probably sitting at her desk right now trying to solve the same puzzle. Posted by user 303367, titled, Am I the a-hole for not giving my wife her daughter's address so she could see the newborn? Hear me out, please. I'm a 46-year-old father who lost a daughter, Molly, years ago to brain cancer. Molly's death broke me. She was my only child, and I'm no longer who I was before this tragedy. I married my wife when my stepdaughter, Sarah, was 15. Sarah had issues with her mum. Her mum would kick her out over small arguments. She kicked her out over getting a haircut, for failing one class, and other reasons. Every time she'd bring her back home and tell her to learn her lesson or she'd be kicked out. One time her mum kicked her out over a diary at 17, and Sarah had enough and didn't return. She started working. I remained in contact, I just couldn't let her struggle. I tried to help her financially, but she refused. She's incredibly independent and a hard-working person. She reminded me of Molly. I decided to help in other ways. I got her a better job opportunity by calling someone I knew at the time. This way she still had to work to earn money, which is something she wanted, and also work at a better job that appreciated her more than the previous job. She's an artist. She wanted to be a graphic designer, so I sold my old car to pay for her courses. She started paying me back bit by bit, only because she's independent. She lived with her then boyfriend, now husband, and paid for other things. My wife didn't try to mend things. She disowned Sarah the day she got married, but stood firm and told her that I'm free to talk to Sarah and she should respect that. I attend gatherings with Sarah from time to time, and she calls me Dad in front of other people. In the past, it was just my name. This sounds crazy, but I believe this all happened just so I could meet Sarah and have a chance at being the best father that I could be. She's now 22 and just had a baby girl a few weeks ago. I visited several times and we talked. She told me that it was unfortunate that she lost her dad, but was glad that she has me in her life. I cried, although I'm not good at expressing emotions, and it got worse after Molly's death. My wife knew about the baby and demanded I give her the address so she could go see her granddaughter. I refused because Sarah asked me not to tell, and because she's already dealing with postpartum and will not be able to deal with her mum's behavior. My wife threw a fit and said that this is her daughter and grandbaby, and I shouldn't try to stop her from seeing her. She called me selfish and cruel. The argument didn't stop. The family are agreeing with her and telling me to stay out of it. I argued with my wife about it again, and she said I had no right and that I needed to give her the address. She didn't even seem regretful or wanted to apologize. Everyone is blaming me, telling me I'm being cruel, and demanding I give her the address. And OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I think I'm an a-hole for refusing to give my wife the address and let her meet her granddaughter, but I don't think this is my decision to make. Well, yeah, I don't think it's your decision to make. Sarah did say that she didn't want you to say anything earlier in this paragraph, and you gave us plenty of reason to be on Sarah's side for this one. Why would you now turn on her and her wishes? That really doesn't make any sense to me, and, you're not an a-hole for standing by that. If anything, I feel like this is the only thing you can do. Otherwise, yeah, you would be an a-hole if you did tell her. But standing your ground, yes, you're going to get some backfire from her. Yes, she's going to put up a fit and she's going to scream. But she burned that bridge so long ago. She doesn't deserve anything she's asking for, so you shouldn't tell her. And for that, I'm going to go with not the a-hole. And in the comments, quote, I refused because Sarah asked me not to tell, end quote. It begins and ends there. You are honoring Sarah's wishes. You would be a huge a-hole to do otherwise. As it stands, you are the opposite of a huge a-hole. You're a wonderful father. Congratulations on the birth of your granddaughter. May she be a light in your life that reminds you of your Molly, not the a-hole. And OP replies, you're right, that's not my decision, but they're telling me I was the one driving a wedge in the family. Truth is, I'm not trying to lose Sarah's trust, and there are boundaries that I cannot overstep. The one who drove a wedge in the family was the one who disowned her daughter. The rest of the family have a problem with me and see this as an opportunity to put the blame on me for what happened. I used to care in the past about what they say, but not anymore. After everything I've already lost, losing them is in fact a blessing. The problem here is that it sounds like your wife is making this oh, poor me and my situation, wah, and basically does nothing but make you look like the bad guy here and poisons them against you. That's super toxic behavior and all sorts of yikes, and the fact that they're listening to her is also concerning. I was surprised after finding out that he'd stay with someone who would kick out their daughter because she had a diary at 17, and then disown her later. Dr. Burnsy says, not the a-hole. In the kindest way I can muster, get a divorce. Agree, divorce the wife, keep the daughter. Then what will the wife have? Answer, nothing. It's a harsh truth, but truth nonetheless. It's her bed that she made. And Miss Murderpants says, not the a-hole. She's going to boundary stomp all over her daughter. Don't let her. Please make sure she can't follow you or track the daughter down. Personally, I'd rethink the marriage. And seriously, you let her kick out her underage daughter. That's really awful. I'm glad you're making it up to her now. And don't you dare ever tell anyone not approved by the daughter to know how to find her. Posted by user, It's Britney Betches, titled, Am I the a-hole for cutting my hair after a friend's death, despite a contract that dictates what I'm allowed to do or not do with my hair? So I have quote-unquote lost my job and have been ostracized by my family, so I figured I'd come to the court of public opinion. One of my best friends of over 10 years lost her battle to the big C word on Christmas. F cancer, y'all. I'm not handling it well, to be honest. I feel like a really crazy person. I literally haven't stopped crying. Through all the tumultuous emotions, I decided that I wanted to cut my hair. I don't know why, but I felt like I wanted to get rid of a psychological weight, and my hair was suffocating me. I model, and I've been doing it pretty much my whole life. My family is upper middle class due to my income. My parents work as my managers, even though I had actual hired experienced managers throughout the years. My dad works part-time elsewhere, but I am the main breadwinner in the family. Part of my current contract was that I can't cut my hair without prior consent from managing parties, or else my contract could be rendered void. It wasn't really an issue until now. For a week, I tried to get consent, but nobody wanted to give it. So, over the weekend, I locked myself in my bathroom and chopped off almost all of my hair. I didn't go as extreme as 2007 Britney, but I was definitely channeling her energy. Now I look like Steve from Stranger Things. I don't feel a lot better, but it was kind of cathartic. I'm glad I did it. My life changed and I physically reflect that now. Now I'm unemployed though, because I was released from my contract, and as soon as I'm done with high school, my family wants me gone. I know that I jeopardized my family's financial security, and my parents are scrambling to figure out how to pay the bills because I may have been an immature a-hole, but I don't know. Maybe it's grief. But I feel pretty apathetic about it. I wanted to grieve in my own way. Am I the a-hole for that? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I think that I might be an a-hole because I only considered my feelings before breaking my contract instead of my family's larger financial future. I made a unilateral decision despite the fact that the effects would be felt by more than just me. At the end of the day, it's your body and it's your life and it's whatever the hell you want to do with it. I don't think that you can particularly be held accountable because, it's kind of your career to be dealing with here. And the fact that they hinged their entire financial security on your modeling career is, if that's all they're going for, and there's no situations where they're unemployed right now and this is just a spike in the road and the parents can get a job in the future and support themselves like they should be doing, if it's just you being the main financial breadwinner and they have no plans of working and just relying on you, that's pathetic. I think that's very pathetic of the parents, and that's an unrealistic expectation of you to have that on everyone else. Why should you, at such a young age, be expected to be the breadwinner for your entire family? That, has put you in a situation like this. And so much as a haircut makes you feel so much better about yourself. It's kind of telling about the situation that you're in. So yeah, I'm going on about a bunch of what about isms, but I feel like my gut feeling is correct on this one, and I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. Mama La says, not the a-hole, it's your hair. Also, get a lawyer. Your parents should have been saving money in an account for you. They should have lived off of their portion of the income and saved quite a bit of yours. When you leave, you shouldn't be leaving with nothing. Plus, hair grows back. Get a cute cut and new management. This is why a child should not be the money earner in a family, in my opinion. It's a dependency that should not be created. And OP replies, I have access to nothing, so I'm not sure how to get a lawyer. They say that my money isn't mine. I only got a few comments already, and I'm already starting to think that my parents are shady for using my money. I think I can get a new contract though. The company that offered my contract sent me a sorry to see you go. Here is some industry contacts email. So at least that bridge isn't completely burnt. As for my family, even my extended family wants nothing to do with me. My aunt told my mum to kick me out now instead of waiting till I'm 18 and done with school. Well, that's illegal. You need to look up lawyers in your area ASAP. Your parents' actions could affect you for years because of random things like how they claimed you on their taxes. Tossed Avocado says, not the a-hole. Though I will warn you that violating contract can and will put you in bad standing with management companies, and people who cannot follow contract or are difficult don't usually get worked with. Yes, it is your hair and your body, but I'm going with not the a-hole because you are a minor, and I don't think you have fully consented to a lot of this. Just remember, with modeling, they want certain looks, and that's why they put it in contract. Now for some info that I think you need. Your parents are probably in violation of the Jackie Coogan law, or are about to be. By law, 15% of your income was to be set aside where it can be monitored, but not accessed, by anyone until you turn 18, which is why they may be waiting to kick you out, because if they have been following that law, there is probably a rather large sum of money just sitting right now. You actually have the ability to get legal recourse. I'm not a lawyer, but this is what I recommend. 1. Contact CPS. Inform them you're a minor child actor/model and believe that you are being financially abused and that your parents have been violating the Jackie Coogan law. Google it and cite it specifically. Cite your parents may also be in violation of child labor laws as well. 2. Report this all to a school official as well. They are mandated reporters. If they scoff or try to convince you otherwise, state specifically, "You're a mandated reporter. I'm informing you of financial child abuse. By law, you are required to make a report." 3. Request a court-appointed guardian ad litem and request a fact-finding for your income and child labor work be performed. 4. Contact your previous management company, or companies, that you were just let go from and request all your financial records, copies of contracts, statements of work, etc. By law, they must provide them to you. And 5. Do not allow them to send those to your parents, and do not tell them what you are doing. Have them either emailed to you directly, mailed to someone you trust, or request they print them and pick them up yourself. I know this may be scary, but you aren't without help or legal recourse. You can also contact your local government and request legal assistance yourself. Just Google your state and legal assistance. But do this now. Things can change when you turn 18, and doing this now gets the ball rolling and will hopefully keep them from accessing your funds that are probably there. And your parents are so in the wrong for doing this to you. As a parent, I can't imagine anyone's parents doing this. But sadly, in the entertainment industry, it's by far the norm. And it's disgusting. And in the post, OP offers us an update. So I talked to a few folks today, and I was sent a copy of the email exchanges that ultimately ended my contract. My contract was set to expire in June, but I wasn't booking until May to give myself time to finish up my last semester in high school. Instead of terminating my contract or firing me, I was released from my contract in a really nice way. I won't copy and paste, but the gist is, here at company, we value the health and safety of all our employees, and it seems that Brittany is going through a hard time. Let's release her from her responsibility so she can enjoy school, and should she decide to come back after high school or freshman year of college, she'll be welcomed back into the agency. They even sent a .pdf of therapists or counselors that I might want to talk to. I talked to my old manager, and she set me up in a contract with a lawyer and already has access to copies of my documents, which she sent me in .pdf too. I also contacted Jasmine's mum, who said that I can move in to finish high school if I'm kicked out in March. I'm not going to say much, but what my parents were doing was definitely illegal, unless I have trusts, which I doubt because my parents both have nice new cars and stuff. I also emailed my school guidance counselor. I have a new email contact, and I'll be sent my financial records ASAP. So yeah. Posting this morning, I honestly felt like an ungrateful, whiny teen who screwed over her family. But you guys made me realize that my life is definitely not normal or fair, and I thank you all for that. And for the immeasurably kind words you've all given me. I'll keep fighting. And our last post is by user Deleted, titled, "Am I the a-hole for not telling my family which one of my children is biologically mine?" So I have 2 kids, Clark and Kent. While they have the same father, only one of them is biologically my child. They were born within 6 months of each other. The boys are currently 6, and for various reasons, I have full custody of both of them. I didn't speak to anyone in my family for several years, and we got back in touch in 2019. Due to the boys' ages, my family knows that I couldn't have carried both, unless I have the gestation period of a hamster or the longest labor ever. I've explained to them how this all came to be, but in my explanation, I neglected to tell them which was my biological child. Due to my ex having a type, the other women looked enough like me that the boys could pass for twins. Same dark hair, blue eyes, pale skin, and both cleft chins and dimples. My brother jokes that they look like tiny supermen. People who know them refer to them as twins because aside from a few minor differences, they're practically identical. Frankly, if they were closer in age, and I'd had full custody of both from the time they were born, I suspect I would have mixed them up a lot as babies. Shortly before Clark's birthday last year, my mum asked if she could see Clark's birth certificate. I asked why, and she said she wanted to know the exact time he was born. So I told her. She asked if she could see the certificate anyway. I asked why. She said she just wanted to check. I said I'm his mother. I know when he was born. Then she asked the same thing about Kent, and we went through the same conversation all over again. Mum eventually admitted that she just wanted to see the birth mother's name on each certificate, which isn't even how that works, and I told her as much. This led to an argument where my stance was that I'm their mother. Biology is irrelevant. Mum says if biology is irrelevant, then it's not a big deal to tell her which of them is biologically mine. I said if she's so hung up on biology, then clearly it's a big deal to her, and I don't want it to be a big deal, especially as the boys themselves don't know. Mum feels this is incredibly selfish, narcissistic, and overall wrong. She feels that if biology isn't such a big issue, then I should have no problem telling her whether Clark or Kent is my biological son, and that accusing her of favoritism or something similar with her bio-grandchild is an unfair judgment with no actual reasoning to it. My boyfriend agrees that I shouldn't tell anyone, or at least until my sons have decided for themselves if they want to know, and want other people to know. But my entire family agree with Mum that I'm being unreasonably selfish, and that my actions are now more likely to cause issues than my mum's potential actions later. Am I in the wrong? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. 1. I've not even given Mum a chance to prove me right or wrong, I'm just assuming her intentions based on my suspicion. 2. It's probably better that my family decide what they're doing now when the boys are young and not so attached, versus letting this come out potentially years down the line. 3. It could be argued that my family have a right to know which child is biologically related to them and which isn't, and they genuinely cannot tell based solely on Clark and Kent's appearances. 4. The situation is causing my family a lot of undue stress and upset, all of which would be resolved if I told the truth that has to come out eventually anyway. And 5, in general, I just feel it would be cleaner to let it come out now versus later. I'm feeling a disconnect about why they would be so pissed off not knowing who the biological child is. Like, I've never in my life thought of a situation where if someone held the fact that one of their 2 kids is not biologically theirs and wouldn't tell me that, I would just get irrationally pissed off over time and be like, which one is it? Where's the goddamn child? Which one is the goddamn child? Why won't you let me know? Why won't you let me know which one the child is? It just seems like theater acting levels of drama that she's thinking is going to happen here. Or maybe they're imposing theater levels of drama on her. I don't get the logic of being so pissed off about not knowing who's genetically yours or not. Why is this an issue? Why are you making this an issue for yourself, family? If she doesn't want to tell you, she doesn't have to tell you. Why do you need to keep pushing the issue? This seems like something that could lead someone to cutting a family off. And to address some of the points that OP gave there, I guess you're assuming her intention based on your own suspicions, but isn't that okay? Maybe when people give off certain vibes, it's okay to assume their intentions? Why would it be better that your family decide what they're doing now when the boys are young and not so attached? Why can't they just be rational people and not be judgmental of who is biologically yours and who isn't? It could be argued that your family have a right to know, but it could also be argued that they don't because that's your private life and they could judge the other child that's not yours based on that fact. The situation shouldn't be causing your family a lot of undue stress and upset. This is just a whirlpool of shit that they're stirring themselves. And in the process, they're tasting it, which is not good. That's causing them even more stress and upset. And in general, maybe it would be cleaner to let it come out now, but you don't know the repercussions of it coming out now and them deciding they're going to cut one of the kids off emotionally. Oh yeah, you're not blood related, so you're not one of us, ha ha ha. It's sad that people like that exist in this world. But yeah, that's my little waffle that I've gone on. I'm gonna say not the a-hole. In the comments, Wind River 7 says, not the a-hole. If she ever finds out, your mother will favor the biological grandchild. Otherwise, it wouldn't matter to her who was on the birth certificate. Agreed. I'd be cautious to ensure she doesn't take a swab to their mouth when mum isn't looking. If mum isn't close enough to know, 1, when her daughter gave birth, and 2, what she named her baby, then I hope that mum isn't around them long enough to secretly swab them. This was my comment as well. Somehow OP spent 9 months pregnant, gave birth to a child, another kid entered her life, and her mum doesn't know which one is which. I want to know why OP was no contact with her family while all of this was happening, because I suspect a-holishness on the part of the family. Gemels4 says, not the a-hole, totally and completely. You know she's going to make a big deal out of it the way that she's pestered you and getting the family to be her flying monkeys. I sincerely hope you have their birth certificates locked up tight in a safe or safety deposit box so she cannot say she accidentally came across it. Would she resort to contacting your ex? Would he tell her? If you're cordial with him, or at least if he's a little bit reasonable, would it be a good idea to give him a heads up that your mum is pushing hard to know which boy is yours biologically and you don't want her to know? And OP replies, we're not cordial and he's not reasonable, but he's completely uncontactable to my whole family, including me. Truthfully, even if she could contact him, I doubt he'd even remember which son is biologically mine because he barely even knows their names and birthdays and hasn't seen them since they were both under a year old. And Angel Islington says, so not the a-hole. You're Clark and Kent's, great aliases by the way, mother. You love them equally. They are your sons, and no matter the circumstances, you are an awesome mum. And who cares about biology? When, to quote the great philosophers John, Paul, George, and Ringo, all you need is love. You love your boys, and it's all they need. So tell your mum to mind her own business. And OP replies, my brother's Superman comments really stuck with me. Unfortunately, it looks like they're Marvel fans, so you can't win them all, lol. I completely agree with your view. The way I see it is that I'm their mother, they're my sons. We're a happy family, and little details beyond that don't matter. I just don't know why my mum is so hung up on it. Reading over the comments, you've really got the situation sorted. You talk to experts, the boys know what they need to know, and you will never hide the truth from them. Honestly, you have no idea how much I admire and respect you. Your boys are so lucky to have a mum like you. You really got everything covered, and the fact that from the get-go, you were aware of how it could affect your son's emotions, you were their mum, and they are your babies. Though 2 6-year-olds, I bet life is never dull. You have no idea, lol. I have 6 years of anecdotal proof that there's no such thing as quiet time. I had them both full-time without their dad from when they were both under a year old too. So it's just been manic for pushing 6 years. Boyfriend's been a huge help though. He's been in their lives since they were tiny and always supported me. I couldn't have done it without him. Thank you. Truthfully, my one goal here is not to screw them up, lol, but I don't know what I would have done without them both. Biological or not, they're my boys, and I love them more than anything. Couldn't imagine life without them, or even without one of them. G'day there guys, and that's the end of today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed it and were entertained by today's bloody good content. As always, I want to do a quick shout out and a thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your beautiful faces and names will be up on screen right now. Haven't forgot about you guys, sorry I was taking a little break there. So yeah, if you see yourself, give yourself a pat on the back. If you want to be on this screen, there's links down to the description below where you can sign up and help support the channel and all future projects that I'm going to be doing on this one. With all that said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. I'll see you in the next episode, and I do hope you enjoy it. Thank you.